welcome to 100 Gems Podcast, home of the champs. Listen up, guys. We have two great champs in the building today. We have Dr. Robert Pyles and we have Pastor Dr. Burns. And today we're going to talk about a great event that we're having at Jericho Church Without Walls. Dr. Burns is putting on a entrepreneurship one-on-one event, and it's called Transforming Passion into Profit. So of course, Dr. Burns, this is a great workshop that you're doing here. It's entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is our main focus, and I believe you said it was open to the public. Also, I think these tickets are going to be $25.
$25,
and that is on February the 3rd, and that it starts at 9, ends at 3:00. So it's a great day of opportunity. I did see you're going to be doing some business plans. I'm not going to tell too much. Doors open at 8:30.
Yes.
Dr. Burns, would you like to just talk about the event just a little bit? And I got some questions that I'm definitely going to ask you and Dr. Pyles about this great event.
Yeah, just looking around in our church and in our neighborhood and just seeing a lot of people who starting businesses struggling, trying to get from a place of passion. You know, they have a passion about their business, but they haven't turned it into profit.
That's right.
And so seeing them struggle, we decided that, listen, how can we empower our people? And so we decided that we would do this workshop and try to get them to the table to help them to begin to see that it takes more than just a dream to birth a business, a profitable business. And so they need some instructions. And so that's what our workshop is all about, trying to empower the people to take their business to the next level.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And so we I see that you have Dr. Robert Pyles as one of the speakers as well, a great leader in our community. And Dr. Pyles, as a spiritual leader, how do you see entrepreneurship aligning with faith-based principles and community building?
Well, one of the things that we have to be careful that when you I think you put us in a box when you say the spiritual leader. I'm a leader. I'm amphibious. You know what amphibious is? You have to be able to make it and to be effective in the ministry. You have to be able to understand the spiritual, right? And then you got to have the eye of also not the natural eye, but to see the times of even now. Amphibious, a fish, that's a fish that can breathe on water, in water, and on land. You got to be able to do both in this day and time. There's no one hook shot gonna get me to the pros.
Yes,
you got to be ambidextrous. So this is what I see happening in the kingdom, and when I say the kingdom, bringing His kingdom to the earth. When you say the spiritual piece, then the spiritual mind, we articulate what the Spirit is saying and then bring it out in us, and we're guided. Our steps have been ordered. But Dr. Burns, who's a good friend of mine, has tapped in to places where we are talking about over here, and he's tapped in also, like we've been talking, sitting at the same table, right? When you look at the entrepreneur, and I like the one-on-one, as Carter to teach it, we get excited, man, and people leave. People come to these seminars, they come to church, same thing, and they leave excited, right? And then nothing happens. You get out of motion. But one-on-one is like a college. The test is life. You follow me? So when he talks about the workshop, I like the time because most time they want to come at 10 and be gone at 10:30 and go out there and change their whole life. You can't do that. And really, there's not enough time to go through everything that we have, because you figure this stuff we've been doing all our life. So when I say to you, when we were talking about the Entrepreneur 101, even just looking at the schedule, Dr. Darvin, you can tell that the thought and the future is on this paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I got it. And so I want to just make sure I clear some things up here that, Dr. Robert Pyles is not just a spiritual leader, or he's not just church bound. You've been in the military. You have been one of the largest African American employers in the state of Wisconsin, and so you have a lot of experience. And so, can you share your journey in leading period? Like, how has that equipped you with insights relevant, to aspiring entrepreneurs?
What that has inspired me to is being in the military. There's a trait that you see that I had to learn at an early age, and really is that when you go in the military, it's like a stripping down. They take everything you got, and they give you a uniform, and they call you rainbows when you first come in because you got on all regular clothes, and there everybody had the same thing on. So when we come to Christ, same thing. Christ said you must come as a child, not childish, but as a child. That means that when people come, Dr. Darvin, my experience have been you come with an open mind, a mind to learn, a mind to get better, a mind to be receptive, right? So when I come as a child, but not childish. I come to learn. I'm a student. I have an affinity for knowledge and wisdom, right? So that means that I can't come in like I know everything. Secondly, the experience that I have, I don't ride on just my experiences, because what happened, way I did it, they ain't even doing that no more. That program done. So I can't tell you, and that's what really, man, this is how I done it. Big Mom, no, they ain't even doing it no more. They ain't even got that no more. So now I have to be relevant to understand that those experiences must equate to the true principles. The one lady said she had, we was in our meeting the other day, and she said that she had a 425 credit score, right there. And she had this loan, and she went and did this at over 7 or 14 states. What she said?
Yeah, it was a lot of states.
Like, wow.
A lot of states.
I said, that's an anomaly.
Right.
I can't teach an anomaly.
Yeah.
I can't teach a miracle.
That's right.
But I can teach you
the principle.
The principle piece.
That's right.
Then God leaves room for himself.
Right.
Right.
I got you.
But people you can't live off of the anomalies. You can't live off of miracles. Maybe God gonna do it. No, God has given you the ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, Dr. Pyles, that you're going to be teaching here. I'll be there with you.
Yes, sir.
To learn some great things and insights.
And we're going to give you
Opportunity,
30, 45 minutes to go through or whatever.
Gotcha.
Some of the things that you can help the people to understand about credit for the business and things that they need to set up. Because you'll be amazed on our strategy, Dr. Burns, that people we're repeating the same cycle but expecting different results.
Okay.
And we can't. But I think that with the one-on-one Jericho, the church is now teaching stuff that I told Dr. Burns 20 years ago, 10, 20 years ago. It wouldn't even been, they look at him like you're crazy.
Yeah, and so I understand that. I did see on the agenda, the itinerary, that we're going to be going over how to create business plans. I think that's always effective too, because it helps them with the goal. And Dr. Burns, I have a couple questions for you as well. And so with your experience in entrepreneurship, we've got this class coming up. What do you believe are the key traits that differentiate successful entrepreneurs from others?
I think it's, Pastor Powell had mentioned it earlier, it's the systems. I think that a lot of times we do things from our heart and we just doing it, but we don't document what we do. And so we don't really see the pattern of what really works. I think it was Andy Stanley that said that if we don't know when we're doing something right, if we don't know why it's working right, when it's wrong, we don't know how to fix it.
Yeah,
and I think that a lot of times we start out with our hearts and we're doing it and working, but we don't know why it's working. And then when it get off track, then we just end up doing a lot of different things, but it end up being a waste of time, really.
Yeah, no, you know what, and that leads me to my next question. Like Dr. Burns, can you share a personal story, right, of how your passion played a critical role in your journey or your entrepreneur journey? Can you give me an example of that or share a story?
Well, when I grew up, I always liked to work with my hands. As a little boy, we didn't have a lot of money, so I made my go-karts, and I was always building on something. And then my grandfather had a business where he was building houses and different things like that. And so he would come pick me up on Saturdays, and I would go and I would work with him, and he would show me how to cut steps and show me how to build porches and different things. And then as he got older, he turned his business over to me. But I started working and helping people, but then they would say, well, I don't have the money, or, I'm short or whatever. And because I loved what I was doing, I ended up helping a whole lot of people, but then I was driving the business in the ground because we wasn't getting the money
helping
back.
a lot of people but making no money.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then I realized that it's important to have passion. Somebody said if you love what you're doing, then it's not like work, but you got to know how to get paid.
That's right. Oh, that's great. That's it. Yeah, and Dr. Pyles, I would love for you to touch on that, because that even with me, and you helped me a few times deal with that. You said, well, Darvin, you spending a lot of time. I know your passion is there, but where's the money? Can you kind of talk on that just briefly, Dr. Pyles?
Well, having passion, and the same as Dr. Burns talks about how he was passionate, and that there's a statement. And see what happened there, Dr. Burns, when we hear statements, they're good, they're awesome, but you can't hang a principle on a statement. I can't set my business up on a statement. Mm-hmm. And I think passion needs to be put in the proper place. Okay, so let's start out. Dr. Burns said that he said you never worked a day in your life. Yeah, that's right. Right? But if you really look into that, if you're not able to provide for your family, the business going under, people keep using you and that, right? Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people who have a gift, but we have used them. They don't want to do it no more. Mm-hmm. Man, I don't want to sing no more. I don't do house no more. Why? 'Cause, man, I had some experiences in life, right, that made me not, man, I'm going to tell you something. I'm a giver. But it ain't fun when you giving and it's not reciprocal. In the beginning, it didn't matter. Oh, man, I just give. But it has to be, there's a principle that goes behind everything. Mm-hmm. You can't be driven by good. You can't be driven by a feeling. Passion is an emotion, right? And I'm going to tell you something. The passion and the motivation is never there when you need him, mm-hmm. right? And when you got a big old heart like Dr. Burns, which he needs that in the ministry, you got to have a heart for the people. But you can't drive off of feelings, mm-hmm. good or bad. That means that I'm not going to not do it for you because I feel some way towards you, and I'm not going to do it just off of feelings. Mm-hmm. We can't let our feelings drive our decision. Yeah. You was allowing your feelings to drive your decision, mm-hmm. versus then you broke principles. All you did is broke principles. You broke laws. Mm-hmm. You broke the law.
Are some of those laws part of these SOPs or these standard operating procedures?
Yeah. Because if Dr. Burns wired the way until he get healthy, he builds a team around him. One person. Was you married then?
No.
Did you have anybody that had I'm gonna get my money attitude?
No.
You got to have somebody around you, because see, sometimes you have to know what you're not at that time. Mm-hmm. You get better than that, because I ain't gonna have you be the bad guy. Right. But I have like Darvin, when the cat guy, we make it sound so good when people doing stuff to us. We say like, man, I ain't worried about that. Man, I had to let that go. Mm-hmm. Well, you let that go. How many have you let go? So what I'm saying is that somebody getting paid.
That's right.
That's the problem. Somebody, they paying somebody, but they ain't paying you.
Yeah.
Then you're sitting here when you're supposed to be able to sow, Dr. Burns.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be able to provide and do this. You can't do ministry because they got it.
Yeah.
They doing ministry. No,
Yeah.
this goes into my next. I mean, all this is
Yeah.
flowing very good, and so, and this question is kind of for both of you guys, and it's on the same line. So, how important do you think it is for entrepreneurs to have a solid business plan? Because this is all in the same. It's like Dr. Burns had this because he didn't have a plan. He didn't have that person that was going to collect the money or ask for that money. So, how important do you think it is for entrepreneurs to have a solid business plan, and what are the common pitfalls to avoid in this process?
All right. That's a good question, Pastor.
Well, a business plan is not just a plan that's going to be describing sunny days. You got to have a business. That's what most business plan are made off of. It's made off of sunny days. But when I ask the question is, when people come to me and say they want to do this, they want to quit their job and they want to go full time, whatever, I have to. The business plan answer those questions that I really don't want to answer. Right? What if it all goes bad? That's the last one. The bank won't know. That's why they make you put 20, 25% down, because if it all go bad, at least we can get our money back. We can sell the house, we can sell the car, whatever. What if it all go bad? Because when people are passionate about something, they want you to invest in that passionate. But I want to know when you're not passionate, when you go to work.
Yeah.
What happened? You don't want to do it no more, and my money tied up. I've had that happen before. Hey man, yo, man, you can't get tired now. Why? Because you got my money. But people ain't got it invested in it. The business plan has to tell me also what you have invested in it, right? If it all goes bad, what you gonna lose? The old straight, what you got on it. The business plan gonna tell them. The Shark Tank always asks, how much have you invested in this business? Right? You invested $500,000, and the maximum this business can make in 5 years is $15,000. That's not a good plan.
Right.
Is it a business or is it passion? You hear what I said? Sometimes you have to start a real business to help sponsor your passion.
I remember one time and the way you explained it to me is, some people then left they went and bought them a job.
Bought a job.
Yeah. They hate they in business.
Hey,
all they
money.
did is they bought themselves a job.
Good money.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so
does that make the business plan the roadmap
Yes, sir.
to where you're trying to go?
Yeah.
You know, so it encompasses the vision of what you have as well as the parameters in which you're going to operate.
Yes,
you know?
sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
What the business plan does, I'm telling you this, right? So what I do with a business plan, and a person comes to me and I sit down and I say, okay, where you want to be at in 5 years, 10 years? Is this a business that you want to pass on to your kids? So you talking about, you start to put the years out there. So I say, okay, you want to be around for your grandkids? What is this business that you're doing? Because sometimes business, you can open up something that's a lick. You know what a lick is?
Yeah.
It's just going to be around for a lick.
Yeah.
I'm serious. That's a lick. Right?
Yeah.
And here's what happened too. I talked to them about the last podcast, red waters and blue waters. You know, that's the difference between blue waters and red water. It's a book. The blue waters when you're the only one doing it.
Okay.
Now, the red waters is you got 50 trucks out there doing barbecue.
Okay.
You're the only one. Now, you know, if you're doing something and you're doing good, it's somebody else going to come do it again.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready for that. So then now, either you are scaling up or you are doing it so big that, but I'm telling you, if you got something good and people going to be able to see it,
Yeah.
they gonna try to do it too.
Okay.
And you can't get mad. But the first thing is, on a business plan is, I start to look at where you're at.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you an example. The guy wanted to open a restaurant up. So I asked him, how much he making now? What insurance he got? So I add up everything he's making. A lot of times we don't realize what we got until we've gone.
Right.
You know, he was making probably about 75, 80,000. This one did. I had one making a whole lot more than that, but he's making 70, 80,000 insurance. He worked a lot of hours, but you know, he was running the store, general manager, and went through the whole piece. Then I said, "You're gonna buy this little restaurant here. How much do you? Okay, this is a month you make here. How much can you make out of this restaurant?" Right.
Okay.
He ain't thought about none of that. He just want to be an owner. A lot of folks want to call him, I'm an entrepreneur. Man, I worked at McDonald's, I was an entrepreneur. See, it ain't what you're doing, it's what you know. I'm an entrepreneur. I can be a pastor in your church. I can pastor, and it's easy because they ain't got to worry about the light bill like you do. Now, you know, me, who I'm gonna worry about what you got on your shoulders too, because it's how I'm wired. But some things, man, I do it. I can make more, bring more folks to Christ, working under you than I can. See, people, but I'm a good number 2.
Yeah.
And you ain't gonna be no good great number 1 unless you're a good number 2. So really, a lot of times people have to become an entrepreneur before you go out there and be and doing the entrepreneur ring.
Okay.
You got to think like one. I thought like a owner when I worked for Jack.
Okay.
The owner thing. Now I thought like an entrepreneur. An owner just pays the checks. You're not. They're not entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Because they say, well, if it's mine, I'll do it. No, you won't. Because who tells you to get up and go?
Yeah.
Who gonna tell Robert Pyles you got to get it better? I have to tell myself that and then submit to others. Say, hey man, you know, you want that store to get better? You better get up and go. You can pray all you want to.
Yeah.
I was praying about one of my stores. I told myself I was praying, and it's like God talked to me. I said, Lord, I want you to help me with the store. I was praying. I'm serious. I'm not joking. And the Lord told me, he said, how you going to send me somewhere you don't want to go? Y'all think I'm joking. I said, Lord, I had stopped praying. I stopped praying for a long time. God be talking about me. And my wife prays, and God, you know, going to send people. Lord, send us some people and good people. And God told me when I was praying, I swear, man, I'm telling y'all this, and I'm not making this up. I'm comical, but I'm serious, truth and humor. And God told me, I'm not going to send nobody else until you deal with the ones there. Because he'll send good. And they'll run them off.
Yeah.
The Hittites and the Jebusites. And because those are things that in the business I have to deal with. The passion is good, man. But passion runs out.
Okay.
Right? I don't care. I don't want to eat cookies all day.
Right.
I don't want to eat. You can't. At a certain point, we cannot rely on just passion, right? You need to bring all those things. You know, I don't want to do it. It's some things you're going to have to do. Some things you don't want to do to get to some places that you want to do.
Yeah. So then, in essence, you saying is the same thing that you said earlier about a millionaire. A millionaire is a mindset, not money. And so you're saying that when it comes to an entrepreneur, it's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
Yeah.
It ain't open. An entrepreneur, I'm sitting there knowing I add the cost up, like the Bible says. Add the cost. Before I go into it, I'm adding the cost up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to quit this. I'm going to get this here, right? And I believe this here, it overtakes you. Overtakes you mean, man, I'm sitting here on the job making X dollars. I could be over here making this. And you can't make, I'm going to say $50 an hour here and go to make $50 an hour. Because all I did was I dropped. You know why? I was doing it part as a hobby, making 50 over here an hour. So now I got to make 150 because I got to make up the 50 over here.
Right.
The 50 I'm leaving, and I ain't going to go nowhere unless it's an increase. Y'all hear me?
Yes.
So that's the way we add it up. Man, you're making this much while you're working, and you're doing this over here as a side hustle.
Okay.
Right? You want your side hustle to become. Now, you got to add both of them together, right? And now see, sometimes if I've looked at it and say, man, I'm taking a step back, which you're really not. We say we're taking a step back to go forward. Y'all making $100,000 a year. I'm only gonna make 50, right? I know that. So now we know that. So now I'm gonna say, now your lifestyle. Can you adjust your lifestyle to fit that? You just can't do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Man, you got a plan for that. Right? I'm ready to quit.
Okay.
I'm ready. Man, listen, I told my daughter, we were fussing, and the Holy Spirit told me this, right? And we was arguing, fuck going at it. It was Christmas Day. See, you gotta know when to quit.
Okay.
Or know what to argue over. I'm arguing her, and years when she lived with her, we fussing. Next to bed about Christmas Day. I'm the daddy.
Okay.
And the Holy Spirit told me, he said two things. The first thing he said, close the door. What do you mean? He said, if somebody's in the room, just close the door. Mm-hmm. If you got a 28-year-old and you argue with them about a room being dirty or something, whatever, you ain't got nothing to argue about.
Okay.
And then I'm ready to leave. I said, I know you're ready. Mm-hmm. I'm ready for you to leave. And I know your mama ready for you to leave because you mess with her stuff and all that. You ain't mess with mine. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm ready for you to leave. I said, but you're not prepared. Mm-hmm. You're not prepared. I want to get you prepared to step out here. Mm-hmm. And that's what we stay here with. So as long as I know that, you're going to be ready to go get your business, but you better make sure you're prepared. And that business plan, and somebody should check that. Mm-hmm. Because when I'm looking at doing something, if you don't have nobody to check that plan and challenge that plan, because I ain't trying to kill your dream, but I don't want your dream to become a nightmare.
Right.
Listen, and that's what happened.
This is the workshop right here.
Yeah.
I think this is some great information. Mm-hmm. And the workshop, once again, is on February the 3rd.
Yes, Saturday.
From that's this coming Saturday from 9 to 3.
Yeah.
Guys, you can get there at 8:30 a.m. Okay, that's what time the doors open. Mm-hmm. And so now, Pastor, both of you guys were saying that, that's some great time, but it's not going to be all done in a day.
No.
So what advice would you give to participants of this workshop to continue their entrepreneurship journey beyond this event?
Dr. Byrne?
Well, I think with anything, like Pastor Powell was saying, you have to have that mindset. So you have to come ready to receive. And I see people just like what Pastor was talking about. They'll say they want to leave their job and start a business, but they never think about what he was saying as far as, okay, the money that I'm making on my job plus the money I'm making on the side has to be my goal of what I'm making, and then being willing to adjust their lifestyle. So a lot of times they step out there and go away from their job, and then they struggle because they haven't taken those things in consideration. So when you come to the workshop, you have to come prepared to let somebody tell you, how you're supposed to do it. A lot of times we have our mindset on how we want to do it, but those principles, those foundational things, we don't have. So you have to come open to hear from somebody who's been successful at it, and you have to come with a determination that I'm going to put these things into practice when I leave out of here.
Right.
Because a lot of times you get the information and you put it on the shelf and you go back doing your business the same way you was doing it before you came to the workshop, and then you get frustrated because it's not working. But you're going to have to be willing, as he was sharing with me, when it came to having systems, you have to be willing to pump your brakes and take the information and begin to put it into practice.
Right.
With the goal of getting where you want to go.
Yeah, and I got a great thing today too, Dr. Robert Pyles. You said that they also have to become a good number 2. I don't want to mess up what you said.
Yeah.
They have to become a good number 2 to be able to take that place as a good number 1. Right. And that could be, for lack of better words, an internship, working under somebody in that field that they want to be in. But they need to be a good number 2. And they can see the things that's happening and going on. So now when they go off into whatever it is they're doing, they can be that much more successful. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Well, let me break it down, and that can mean a lot. A good number 2. Good number 2 being is that people want to lead, but they don't want to be led. Mm-hmm. They want you to support them, but they don't want to support nobody. A good number 2 has to support. And Dr. Burns, it's easy for me to support what I like to do. Mm-hmm. Is when I don't agree. I got to think about when Caleb and Moses, when Joshua was following Moses.
Yeah.
He like, hey man, we can take our mount.
That's right.
We can do this here. Mm-hmm. The spies that said we can do this.
That's right.
Had to follow him 40 years. Mm-hmm. My God.
Yeah.
Now, you understand what I'm saying? We following the leader.
Yeah.
He ain't even on no Honda. Remember how that commercial he said he followed him? Now, you think about it, man. See, sometimes it's easy to follow when we dunking and we shooting. Can you follow when things seem like it ain't working?
Yeah.
What's up, bitch? That's when you know. I'm a good. I know that people, a good number twos, when they, you know when I'm for the vision and not just for the man, because the man will fall.
Right.
The vision is what I'm following you because of your vision. I'm in love with the vision, not the man.
Yeah.
Because you can disappoint me, right? I'm following the vision, right? The vision. So that's a part that, because people get excited about, hey man, I love that, but then after a while we fall out of love. You still there, the vision keeps me going.
Yeah.
Right. I know what God has in you. I'm following what God has in you. I ain't gonna stand with your issues and sin, but I'm gonna stand by the vision.
Yeah.
See, that's what you gotta. That takes a mature person.
Okay.
So then, when I say a good number two, is that a good person who's worked and stuff knows what the people are going through. I know how I feel. I'm not gonna have, my God. I've seen people work like a dog, and then their family come around for the big days, and they push the people back that they've been there for all year. I told the guys that my armor bearers, and people come out and say, hey, y'all crazy. What you mean? I say, if I'm gonna work all week, and on Sunday, I'm gonna play. He ain't been in practice. So there are things that family, whatever, a good number two knows how I feel to say you can't come. And to look in the room when I did all the work and I ain't in that room. David know how they feel.
Yeah.
So that's why a good number two knows how I feel. I've done it. I've been there. I know I'm not going to do no banquet and the kids can't come. They coming.
Yeah.
I don't care what form they bring them kids. They cry. Listen, this is family. I'm not gonna do that, man. I'm not. If you can't sing at Abundant Faith, I mean, we cut your mic off, but you come and every time, you are dedicated. We had folk dedicated, man. And we got ready to go down there and back up William Murphy, and I would bring in the McDonald's people, right? He going. You gonna cut his mic off? He come to church every Sunday, Tuesday, supporting the ministry, and when we go to Carnegie Hall, he can't go. Well, I'm gonna discuss then.
Yeah.
I ain't come back to that church no more. We ain't doing that.
Yeah, so I got a couple more things, guys, and I know.
Let me finish
okay,
this.
yeah.
I'm gonna close this out. So a good number two. When we were talking about that part, Dr. Burns, is that when you're setting up your business right, a good number two. I've done it. I'm talented. I'm supporting you. I know how to support when I don't see. A lot of times the decision that you're making, I may not know all the reasons why. And it's easy for me to criticize you from the bandstand.
That's right.
Because sometimes leaders are making decisions in my benefit, and I don't know it, and I criticize it. So that's why when you've been through it, you know how to, you understand that. That. So go ahead, Darwin.
Yeah, so with the event, I just want to talk a little bit about impact and follow-up. What kind of impact do you hope to have, Dr. Burns, on the participants of the workshop, and how do you plan to measure its success?
Well, those are very good questions. Definitely when it comes to the impact that we want to see happen is we want to actually see the business, because we have a business network. And so we have a network of businesses and partners that we've been working with. And that's where this need came from, just looking at some of their struggles. And so the impact that we would like to see is that people get clear direction as far as, it's one thing to do something. It's another thing to know why you do it, And so we want them to be able to get clear direction on why they do it. Because I believe if their why is big enough, if they know why they're doing this, that they'll be willing to invest that effort, you know. Now, measuring it is another thing, and that's something that, you know, other than being able to see it as we have our normal business network meetings and things, being able to measure it, you know, it almost has to, you know, I have to think that through. I know on an individual level, a person should be able to measure their success so that they could be result oriented, you know, because it's one thing to just be doing something. It could be good what you're doing, but if you're not getting the results that you desire, then you need to change. So from an individual standpoint, they definitely need to measure it. From a networking standpoint, I'm not sure how we would measure that at this point.
Okay. And so are there any follow-up resources or support systems that will be available to the participants after the workshop?
Most definitely. What we decided to do, we're committed now for 6 months. We decided for 6 months.
Awesome.
Every fourth Saturday to do some type of workshop, to bring somebody in, depending on what the different needs are for the next 6 months. And at the end of those 6 months, we were going to look back and measure, you know, to see how successful it was based on the feedback and looking at, you know, how prosperous it was for the people. And if it's working, then we continue. If it's not working, then we have to reevaluate how we're going to do that.
Oh, that's awesome. And so, and that went into my next question, and you answered it. So basically, you said about every fourth Saturday, so approximately monthly, you'll be having some type of follow-up workshops or some continuing of what we're doing on February 3rd.
Yes. So for the next 6 months, every fourth Saturday, we're going to have a workshop for the people, for the business owner. Just like what Pastor Powell was saying, you can't get it all in one shot. And not only you can't get it all in 6 shots, neither per se, but being able to get you started, you know, be like a catalyst to get you thinking in the right way, get you moving in the right way, get you willing to make the adjustments that you need to adjust. And I think more than anything, you know, people could be so prideful. And I've learned in my own life that you have to have people in your life that can tell you what to do, and you would do it even if you don't want to. Now, I'm not talking about nothing immoral or anything like that, but you got to have people in your life, because I don't know everything, you know, and there are some things I don't want to do, but I have to have somebody in my life that I can trust, that can tell me what to do, and I'll be willing to make that adjustment. And I think from a business perspective, you have to be the same way. I mean, when we talk about even this workshop, you have Pastor Paul, who's come and proven businessman. I heard his story years ago. I've read different things on him, how he started, and he's a perfect example.
You know they call him the business pastor now. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yes, that's the business pastor.
I did not know that.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know, but I know when he talked about, you know, when he was in Alabama and how he felt the burden for his family and how he was that middle one out of, I believe it was 9 siblings. And, you know, I thought about how he came in, you know, to McDonald's, and he didn't come in as a business owner, but because of the mindset he had, he went from how he came in to owning multiple, you know, McDonald's. And so, you know, I'm telling you, what better person, because he understands a different perspective. Sometimes people who are in business, they forget how it was when they started, or they don't want to share how it was when they started. And so sometimes they speak to you from a high place and you can't grab it. But, you know, just talking with Pastor over the years, you know, he right where you at.
Right where you at.
Right where you at.
That's right.
And you know what he's talking about. So I'm saying it's important for business people to let people who know what they're doing tell them how to do what they're doing so they can have that success. You know, it's nothing worse than putting your all into something till you, like Pastor was saying earlier, until you get tired of it. And then it's not that it wasn't a good product, and it's not that it didn't have the potential to go forth. You just was lacking some information.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah. And so, Dr. Pyles, in closing, would you like to give us some last words of wisdom or insight before we go?
two things, and I want to make sure that Dr. Burns was describing something. What he wrote up here and what we're doing is what I would call really getting down to the road. Because I can tell a story, I can tell my testimony and all that, right? But you have to ask, you got to know how to ask a good question. What do you regret, or what would you cry over? You know, in business, what would you do different? Two, and it's in this thing, the structure piece. A lot of things that in a franchise, I didn't just open a restaurant up. I tell people, they come to me, I'm opening a restaurant up where you think I had to go through the whole process. But I got a franchise. People put into that McDonald's, not because Robert Pyles' name is up there on that sign. So if you go in a restaurant, that's another whole other story. But McDonald's is a franchise, how it works. But you said something when you start talking about a business plan. I think in the basics, talking about a business plan, people don't get it. A business plan gonna tell me one, and is who I need to put on the team. Look at your business plan. We had ACM, Advanced Credit Management, as a company. On the team, you got to have a scribe. If I'm the kind that come up with ideas and you come up with ideas and David, and nobody's writing that down and do what you did here, then we leave and we just meet it. And then that get to be daunting because we're just talking and great ideas, but nobody is putting, so you got to have we don't need nobody like Robert Powell. I need somebody who don't like wasting time, who don't want to sit here for 3 hours. Hey man, look, we're on the schedule, we got to get this done. Those are the kind of people that we bring to. So we brought a person on this weekend. When I was talking to him, I said, that's the right person, because you're not like us, okay. Right? You know, and we submit to you. That's how I got better in taking notes and doing this, because I know what it was. So when you're building your business plan, it's going to tell you who you need on your team. Giannis, we need to get some defensive player. We need to get some offensive. Somebody got to bring the ball. So the basketball team ain't just picking people out of the sky. They ain't just your cousin.
Right.
You can have all centers.
Yeah. You can have all
the best centers in the world.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna win no game.
Yeah. And you gotta know how to put that team together, and that's what we don't do well. We put people, oh man, you know, and then we hold on to Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe, yeah, he Uncle Joe, but Uncle Joe can't do the books. Aunt Sally's not paying the bill. She can't even do computer work and all that. So you got to have folks that around you that's super team and better than you in that area, because you got to know your weaknesses too. So those are the things that you have to do. And lastly, when you're talking about the follow-up becomes, you said every month now. So what you can do is, I love it. Darvin is doing the credit thing, the thing, not just credit, but about finance and money and all that, every 2 weeks. So now, I don't have to sit and have these one-offs. I can say, hey, we're doing that thing every month. I need you to be there. Okay. Then when I show up, you know I'm serious. Hey, we got the finance thing over there. Instead of people wait, because everybody see you gonna want to talk about. Everybody see me gonna talk about McDonald's or business and all that, but they never come. They ain't gonna come to the Big Six class. They're not gonna come to Darwin finance classes, but they gonna be. Man, you just saw me and it came to your mind. So I don't do the barbershop talk no more too much. Okay, it has to be, man. So the guy said, man, what if you can't afford to come to the Big Six? I said, well, I could do private time and charge them. But then what about if they ain't got that? I said, Tuesday night Bible study can come out. I'm talking about the same thing. I'm talking how to make bigger, better, and bolder by faith. Sunday morning. So at some point, they got to commit. You got to get my commitment on it. You have to have me to commit in. And what's qualifiers, I call it. They got to qualify to get in that circle. Okay. In that space. So I think with this entrepreneur, you wrote it down. These are the things that you need to begin to work on. So now I'll pick up this and say, have you did this, this, and this? Now you got a step. These are gonna be steps. Okay. So I love it. Some of the things that I wished I had done is that making sure that the SOPs, how you do things, because we superstars, man. We make a round egg out of no ring. All right. But at the end of the day, we got to be around for the party. Yeah. We got to be around for the celebration. So I'm transparent. You know, I cry. I can tell you what I cry about. You know, what I missed it at, so that you guys don't miss it. And normally, when you figure it out, it's 1,000 folks that got that same problem. That's what your purpose come into play. That's what, man. I'm gonna talk about what we all got problems with.
Okay.
Not just my problem. I mean, we all got a problem with setting up the business. Everybody I talk to, paying bills, structure, organization, and thinking about the future.
Yeah.
Oh man, thank you there, Pastor. So listen, guys, entrepreneurship 101, transforming passion into profit. That's February 3rd at Jericho Church Without Walls. And it starts, guys, at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Get there at 8:30. Come a little early, and maybe we can have a few conversations before time. But we are going to really take entrepreneurship, business planning, building yourself to the next level. We're going to take it all to the next level. Listen, this is the coach, and we have Dr. Robert Pyles and Dr. Burns.
Yes.
Tell them peace out, y'all. Okay, I'm listening.
Let me give them the address, 8086 North 76th Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And lunch will be provided. That's a $25 registration. You can register at the door when you come, and we do have a workbook for you. So I'm telling you, the investment that you're making in yourself, $25 don't even cover what you're going to receive, especially with the level of, person that Pastor Powell is and what's going to be taking place. So 8086 North 76th Street here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
All right, guys, we'll see you there. Peace.
Peace.
Beyond the walls.